Okay, so guys, terrible news. This is my third Ars
Media
media.
shit.
This is my third Ars media. He no longer works. He's fried now too. I thought, this when I put the board in this one, his head, nothing in his head was working. His eyes wouldn't light up. He doesn't respond to any commands. Nothing. Just nothing. No sound response. No vision response. Nothing. And so I'm like, oh, well, the headboard is fried. Okay. So, I put the board back into the original one. His eyes no longer light up now. His ears don't work. Nothing in his head works. He doesn't respond to remote commands. He's dead. So I don't know how the hell this happened. I don't know if it's when I mixed the boards, but I don't know how that would affect it like that. But I need 2 replacement RS Media boards now. Yeah, we have some coming because, like I said, I bought some, but we don't know if those work though. Because why were those boards removed from the robot in the first place? So that's
a master has been decapitated.
Yeah. So, and I'll show you guys. It doesn't. Eyes do not light up. Nothing. It'll boot up and everything, but once it boots up, it doesn't do anything else. Because, everything works. It's the head. Everything is controlled. Since the head doesn't work, it can't respond to anything.
Standard operational systems are being reviewed.
So I don't think it's the board and the head that's out on any of these two. It's the actual main board or the upper board.
My battle model include a title by which I may be addressed by my human counterparts.
See? Yeah.
I am Spacebot Commander, reporting for duty.
And yeah, it won't do anything else. Nothing. No sound detection. Nothing. There's no IR signals coming from it.
What about his hands? Can you or what about his feet?
Yeah, his feet sensors do.
Main puppet mode program playback.
Because that's separate from his head. It doesn't have to. That's a different thing. Yeah.
That should do it.
Yeah. Again, 2 dead Ars Medias.
Main.
So it sucks. It really fucking sucks. Now I only have 6 that work and 1 still at Bailey's house. So, it's okay. The numbers will go back up again. It's just they just need a new board.
Okay. Or another media. Joe, you're gonna need 5 more medias.
This is the reason why I'm getting so many fucking medias for when shit like this happens. When I see if I have so many medias, I don't have to worry about, oh, there's gonna come a time where none of them work at all. I'll always have a media that will work if I have so many of them.
Jordan, we're gonna have to be constantly fixing them to the point that means we have to buy more parts. And some other shit.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know.
Oh my god, this is terrible.
His side to side, he's like his body isn't even going side to side anymore. Like what during the intro, after it's done, it's supposed to go side to side.
I've heard it. I heard it when you turned it on. I didn't even hear it. Him move from side to side.
Yeah, and it wasn't doing that when I had the board and the other one either. So yeah, it is the board. I still don't know why their ears have those issues where they think they constantly they get stuck in a loop and they say, I hear something, and then they say, oh, I don't hear it anymore. Oh, I hear something. Constantly. It's a constant loop. It never stops until you unplug the ear or turn the ears off, but you can't do that in roaming mode. It has to shut them off itself by hearing too many noises coming from different directions. So yeah, again, I don't know how to fix those ear issues, and it's going to happen to all the medias because it's happened to my first, second, third, fourth, seventh, 5 medias that have that issue. So, and it always happens after they're used in a very noisy room for long periods of time. It somehow damages something. I don't know how this... It's like they store this information that something's happening to them and they just hold it in them. And it's like, how do you release this info that's... Like the 7th media, I had to disable his right ear because that's the one that was causing it to be stuck in a loop, constantly saying it hears something. when there's no sound going on at all. And you know, I tried plugging in different, because I thought maybe at first it's just the microphone that's going bad. I tried different microphones. I tried the other side of the ear, which wasn't fucking up on that side. I tried it on that side and it was messing up. So as long as something's plugged into that wire harness, it triggers that response to where it thinks it hears something, and I don't know why. So there's this issue like this where the whole head just gave out, and I don't know why that happened, although it's probably from me mixing the boards. That one's more of a self-explanatory, but a half-working board with a non-working board, I just don't know how that would really affect it that much, but...
Hey, wait, Jordan, what number RS Media is this one that's dead?
Well, one was a first and the other was a second gen, but the thing is, they're identical. First and second gens.
No. I mean, like, which number media?
Oh,
third just died.
My third one. This is the one that's been moving slow for a while. So, I mean, it was dying anyways, wasn't it?
Hold on. I need to update this. Fucking dead. There we go. I'm updating the list.
Oh. But yeah. What was I talking about, Kevin?
You're talking about, like, the ear issue?
Oh yeah, the hearing. Yeah, that's the issue that needs to be figured out. Because it's, I recommend, if any of you have an RS Media or get an RS Media, do not use it in a noisy area for like a long periods of time, because it permanently like the thing is, like I said, none of my RS Media started out with that issue except for my first one. But my first one lasted a long time until it got to the point where it got stuck in the loop. And even though I have both of his ears unplugged, every time it stops walking in roaming mode to because it does it stops walking after a few seconds, and then it changes it stops to listen for a sound, but it always thinks it hears a sound even though his ears are unplugged. Whereas my fourth media, had the same issue where it got stuck in the loop and it constantly thought it heard something. I unplugged his ears. He doesn't do that when he stops walking. So there's two different issues that happen here. It's just very odd. And like I said, my second RS Media, which came from the UK, it did not do that at all. But the day that the eye went out, I was using it. It's on video. It was that day where me and Lucas were screaming, and we had that really loud ass music playing around. Like it. After that day, I was using it on guard mode, and because I programmed their guard mode so that they like walk around and do other stuff. So it looks like they're kind of doing things on their own, like they're almost like alive or whatever. I had him doing that, but after that day with that really loud ass music, it never worked the same again. Every time it stops walking, it's just been like my first media. Every time it stops walking, oh, I hear something. And it never did that before. Same with my third media. When I first got it, it did nothing. Although I don't remember really using it in a noisy room. It's just all the times I have used it, it has been noisy, but not as noisy as when I was using my second media in the room with the loud music. So again, but that's the point of the ears. It's supposed to be able to detect loud noises like that, but somehow it screws them up. Wowwee fucked up on their programming for this. Now, that's one thing they messed up on. The second thing they messed up on is the low battery warning. This media and my first media, their boards were, I think, kind of going weak, and because they've been moving, those are the two that have been moving slow. So I replaced the motors, and they don't go any faster. So I knew the boards were dying anyways. Even so, it was gonna come to the time where it was gonna have to be replaced anyways. These were actually the original two medias we got the boards in the first place until I got this one that doesn't work at all. So it's really not a loss because that's what we originally bought the boards for. It was to replace the boards that were in this one, to see if it would perform better, to move faster. Like it would move okay, but when it would walk kind of weak and slow. Anyways, I was talking about, Oh yeah, the low battery warning. Yeah, these two, since their boards were getting kind of weaker, they would last. The double A's, when the double A batteries are getting low, that's when they say their batteries need changing or whatever. When the D batteries are getting low, that's just for the speed. So if they're moving slow, it's the D batteries. If they're saying their batteries need changing, it's the double A's. These two medias, this one did not do this at first, but this one's always been kind of sucky with it. My first one. With rechargeable batteries or just the double A's in general, after about 10 to 15, 30 minutes, they insist when you try to make them roam or they try to walk in a dance or thrust in a dance. That's what causes them to shut down when their batteries are low. They will not shut down if they do any other action. If they think their batteries are low, they will shut down when you try to make them walk, turn, or when they thrash or walk in a dance. That's what they messed up. That is horrible programming, because those are the functions I use the most. The walking, the roaming, the dancing. And those are the functions that it can't do when it insists its batteries are low. I keep the robot from powering down, because when it says it's going to power down, I tilt it backwards and that stops it from powering down. Then I try it again. Like the roaming mode, I'll hit the roaming button. It'll try to start roaming, and then it'll say the batteries need changing. I'll tilt it back, lift it back up, hit the button again, and then it'll work the second time. Like, why did you say the batteries need changing the first time? It's just weird. I don't understand. Like I said, they start doing that after about 30 minutes with the double A's being installed. Whereas all the other ones, if I put those same rechargeable batteries in them, as far as from like my fourth media, when I first got my second media, it's getting a little worse, but it's not as bad as these two are. It's never been as bad as these two are. But like I said, this one, my third one, was not like that at all at first either, but it got that bad over time. Fifth, fourth, sixth, and second media, and at first third media, would originally last about an hour to 2 hours with those double A's before they would start saying their batteries need changing, whereas the first media and now the third media would only last about 15 minutes until they start saying it. Like this RS media, both these RS media, since they are bad like that, I could never use the Billy Joe Sapien dance because it tries to walk in the dance, so it would just stop dancing and shut down. The Spacebot dance, because that tries to walk and it thrusts, so that shuts down. So it's like when it thinks that's horrible programming to make it shut down when it's trying to dance or roam. Like if the batteries are low, it needs to shut down for like all the functions, not just when you make it walk or thrust. That just, the programming was messed up there. The V2 does, the RoboSapien V2s don't even do that. When their AAA batteries are low, they're low. They're not gonna like power down when you try to make them roam or dance. Like when they're low, they're actually mean they're low. Whereas the RS Media sometimes just lie half the time. Because like I said, the chargeables are charged. It'll say batteries need changing. I'll tilt it back, try it again, and it'll work the second time. It'll work the third time, but then it'll say it'll need changing again. I'll tilt it back, hit the roaming button again. It says it needs changing. I'll tilt it back, try it again. It says it needs changing. Tilt it back, do it again, and then it works. It's like, come on, dude. Why are you being so retarded? And then the third issue, which isn't really something that affects the robot. It's more of, okay, on the RS Media software, you can replace over 250 voice files of audio for each personality. However, there's audio files on the software that the robot never actually says. For example, you know how the RoboSapien V2, when it grabs something, it says, gimme, 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 and then the second time it does, it says, here, let me scan that. RS Media is supposed to have 2 different sayings for each personality for when it grabs something. It has in the software that you can put a sound file in for 2 of them, but it only does the first one. It has never and never will do the second one. So don't even place a sound file when you're making a personality. Don't even place a sound file into the second grab function, because you're never going to hear that audio. It's never going to play it. Same with, you know how at the end of the dance the RoboSapien V2 says, I hope nobody saw that? RS Media was supposed to have a speech at the end of his dance. Like RS Media, after he's done dancing, it's supposed to say, "Now that's how you do the robot." And the Bender dance, after he's done dancing, he's supposed to say, "I'm Bender, you know, the lovable rascal." You know, you have the option to give those options a sound file, but they never actually do those. So those functions were never programmed into them, but yet it's on the software to program into them, but they don't have the actual programming to do that. It's just weird. Wowwee messed up on the RS Media. They have too many glitches that, like I said, with the ears, something when you use them in a noisy room, it's like it creates a glitch in the circuit board, and you have to figure out what that glitch is to clear it. And if you don't, then it just gets worse over time to the point where it gets stuck in that in that loop where it just says, "I hear something. Oh, I don't hear something. Oh, I hear something. Oh, I don't hear something. Oh, I hear something." It's just constant. That's all it does. That affects the roaming mode. It can't roam. Like when you hit the roaming button, it'll walk until it pauses, but once it pauses, it'll never start walking again unless it hears a sound or turns its ears off because there's too many noises coming from different directions. And then if it's not in the roaming mode, it'll affect its main mode. It won't be able to track objects unless you turn the ears off, which you shouldn't always have to do that. So it affects many things. These issues affect many things. The whole functionality of the robot, the low battery warning, and the hearing problem creates many problems with the whole entire robot, and those are horrible ways to V2 was not programmed bad like that. He was programmed perfect. Like there's never been a V2 with the ear problem like that. There's just so many electronical components in this that there's so many glitches that it creates so many glitches in these medias that it honestly can make a glitch because of how much is in it. Because like this, my second media, his system noise, you know, these other medias are pretty quiet. Like this one was kind of loud, but not really. This one is really loud. His system noises, there's always like a noise coming from its speakers. So it's like something in his system is trying to process, but it's not processing, whereas the other ones are completely silent. So I don't know if that's caused by the ribbon cables in the camera not working, so that it always sees green. I doubt it because it's not always looking at something. It still does it even when its vision is turned off. I don't know what causes that loud system noise. But again, these are all glitches that happen somewhere down the road that you just can't figure out why they occurred. RS Media is a very advanced robot, but it's too advanced when these glitches happen and you can't figure out what the problem is. And these robots are so outdated that obviously no kid in this generation is going to know how to fix that or even know anything about the robot in general. And even if there was someone who had these experiences who was that smart that they were able to figure out how to fix this issue, they're never going to see this video and comment how to fix these problems. I highly doubt there has been someone who actually figured out how to fix these problems, like the ears problem, because I think I've been stuck with all the shitty medias, but like I said, it happens when you use them in really noisy areas for a long period of time, and then they just get worse over time, but I think a lot of people who just have one RS media and just one RS media don't use them in really loud areas, so their ears never get affected. Whereas once they come with me, I use all my robots walking around at once, they hear all these sounds, and then all of a sudden their ears start acting up. Like I said, my first RS media came with this ear problem, but it didn't get bad until 2 years later. Yeah, 2 years later. And then my seventh media, I used it in roaming mode once, the first day that I got it, and every time it would stop walking, it would say it would hear something, but it wasn't stuck in a loop. Once it said it no longer heard something, it would actually continue on. That's what they do at the start. When this problem first starts occurring, that's what they do. Once they say they don't hear something, they move on. But once this problem gets worse, they get stuck in that loop and they never get out of that loop. And like I said, I used that in roaming once, just for 6 minutes. The next time I used it in roaming mode, which was literally a month ago, it was stuck in this loop. I only used it 6 minutes. So I guess it depends on how much the other people used it, if they used it in a noisy area, because it usually takes a while for this. Like my fourth RS Media's ears were so sensitive that when they're turning around in their roaming mode, it actually would respond to it turning around, because they were so sensitive that it heard itself turning around, and it would say it would hear something. None of my other RS Medias did that when they were turning around. But it didn't always, whenever it stopped walking, it didn't always used to say it heard something, but it would hear the slightest of sounds and pick that up, which was very bizarre, because the RS Media ears are sensitive compared to the V2s, but that one was oversensitive. And obviously that's the first, well, I had to disable my first one's ears first, because I remember I was using it on the adapter, and all of a sudden it started just constantly saying it was hearing something, and I thought it was odd, and I just opened the head and unplugged the ears because I didn't know what else to do, and that stopped it. But like I said, every time it stops walking, it still insists that it hears something, but it's not stuck in the loop. So once this problem starts happening, it's like on the first and second gens anyways, even if you unplug the ears, every time it stops walking, it's still going to say it hears something. Whereas the third generations, this is where they're updated. Once you unplug the ears, they won't do that, even though they have the same problem. But yeah, he got worse over time. Since his ears were very sensitive, and I used my first through fourth meter were used so much, just heavily used. Always in noisy areas. Always at the same time with other robots. So it's like, and with his ears being so sensitive, I'm not surprised. But again, this is a problem that's going to happen to all of them if I don't figure out how to fix this issue. Like I said, this one, I only used it once on the roaming mode and barely ever used it. I mostly used it, like, I stopped using my medias a lot once I got my fifth one, and that's the one that now has a bad position sensor in the body, but that one kind of came that way. It just got worse. It's just like that one didn't have a bad position sensor when I first got it. Now it's completely broken, and now it just stays to the side constantly, whereas before it would sometimes reset, and it would still function properly, but now it doesn't function at all, just because the body stays to the side. So it can't walk because it makes its legs unbalanced, so it can't carry its body around. So again, I don't know how much the other people used it who had it, but I used this media mostly for listening to music on it. I used it in that roaming that few times. Sometimes I would use it just to, test it, to make sure it's still working, but I never really did anything with the sound. I try to avoid, like, when I try to trigger the sound responses, like tapping on their head to make them, because when you make a new personality, you want to hear what you did, like the voice, you want to hear your voice that you changed on it to see how it sounds when it hears a voice. And so, but I get so scared when I have to trigger its ear responses, because I know that in the future it's going to actually just mess it up. Every time you trigger it, it's like it gets worse and worse. Slowly it gets worse and worse every time it's triggered. So it's a very weird problem. All three generations of RS Media have that problem. They all have the stupid battery needs changing warning thing when you try to make them walk, when they assume their batteries are low when they're not always. I mean, there's two different types of my batteries need changing. There's the ones where you put the D batteries in, but you don't install the AA's, or AA's and make a contact. It'll power up, it'll load, it'll say system check, and then it'll say batteries need changing. Like if the contact is corroded, or like I said, if you didn't put AA's in, it'll just shut down after it says system check. But when when it assumes it's the actual low battery warning, when you try to make it walk, it that's when it tries to power down with the actual low battery warning. But sometimes the AA's are not. I've even tested them on my battery tester to see how low the batteries really are. When it says that, they're not even low at all yet. They're still at like 90% of power. Like, so these AA's and these RS meters can't even be any below 95% of power until, because if it gets any lower than that, it's going to automatically assume that its battery isn't changing. When I use rechargeable D batteries on this, or I use the AA's to function as a D battery because I have those battery converters, it's almost like when those when those batteries are low, it's gonna affect the AA's that power on the robot, because it, once it's moving slow, it thinks it's low. But I've seen videos on YouTube where the batteries, the D alkaline batteries, are so low, but yet they don't even power down at all because the AA's are still good. But yet when I use rechargeable batteries, it's like, or not sometimes not, just my meters are so goddamn picky that they just shut down whenever the hell they feel like it. But anyways, this has been probably like a 30-minute video of me talking. No one's gonna probably watch this. I'm gonna probably get like 10 dislikes on this video. I'll be like, you're annoying, shut the fuck up, or whatever. But I'm salty right now. I'm sorry, I'm salty. 2 of my artist meters are dead right now, and I always like get worried about this stupid ear glitch problem that happens that you can't figure out. It's just irritating, because this is one reason why I feel like I need to have so many medias. But even though it's gonna happen to all of them someday, but yeah, but you know, it would also be cool to say, you know, I have 12 and be like, yeah, I beat the world record. No one's gonna beat me. You know, yeah. There's 2 reasons I want that many, and they're always just cool because I switch out from, like, it's not like I just use one specific one at a time. Like, I try switching them out because, like, each one, the walking is kind of different on. Like, I mean, like, most of them, RS Media, oh my god. If you see the video when I first got my first RS Media, it's a shame to call it my first RS Media because of how shitty its walking was. It was pathetic. It wouldn't even walk forward for 5 inches. Whenever its legs would move, it would just spin itself in a circle. And I think there was 3 problems on why that was happening. One, if the motor is strong in one side of the legs, but the motor is getting weak in one side, that's going to cause it to go in circles. The leg that's stronger, it's going to turn that way. This media, it wasn't like that. Like, medias 3, 4, and number 7, this one, the one that now has the ear problems, like not even a month, like 6 hours of using it, walking, well, this one kind of walks in circles, but my 3rd and 4th used to walk in circles. They don't anymore. My 3rd one, the spring holder in the foot ended up breaking at some point, and I swapped it out with my old Blue V2's part, and then it no longer walked in circles when I replaced that. And so I assumed that the spring holder was breaking on that one, but it's never broke yet. I replaced that. This is the leg that always moved strong on this one, and this is the one that moved weaker, so it would always like make a turn this way. I replaced the motor in this one. It walks straight now. And now this motor is actually dying in this leg. This is the one that was originally strong, but it's still walking straight. So, I mean, it could be a matter of the motors. Sometimes it's the motors. Sometimes the springs on certain sides are stretched out further. Like, if the spring, let's say in front here, is stretched out more than this one, that's going to cause it to, let's see, which, so if this back spring holder snapped, let's see, was it the back spring? I'm trying to remember which spring holder broke on this one's foot, because I remember when it broke, the leg was stuck like this, so that means it would have been the back one that snapped, because then it's the front one that's pulling it forward. So if the leg, a lot of times when these walk in circles, one leg is forward like this, and the other, I mean, one is back, the other is forward. So it looks like they're uneven. It looks like the springs are stretched out too far on like this side, for instance, and then on the other side they're stretched out on that side, so that they're just always like uneven like that. But, you know, like I said, once I replaced the motor in him, he no longer walked in circles. But sometimes the appearance of how the feet are setting, like this, it just looks like it. But I think this one's springs are messed up because when this one walked in my old videos, you can just tell there was something off about the feet. Like, it's like this foot is pointing down. It's pointing somewhat down. Like something is not measured right in there. So when this foot moves, it would just make a turn like this. This is literally how it walked. It literally turned like that. It literally did not walk straight at all until actually it started walking somewhat straight when the batteries were low. I mean, I didn't leave it like that for long. The first day I got it, I started just taking the grips off the feet and like removing some and leaving some. I started experimenting until I found a solution that actually worked. I never even replaced the motors in this one's feet or anything. I've never fixed a spring holder, nothing. I've actually, the reason this one walks straight now is because oh wait, that's my second media. I was talking about it first. Anyways, I removed the back grips but kept the front ones on. So now it walks straight. It doesn't really back up without the back grips on it, but it can still turn around when it sees an obstacle and not still be stuck. You know, so it works. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. It's always had issue. Like this one, its gearbox is so tight for the side-to-side mechanism. Like listen. It's loud. That's not normal. And I've replaced this gearbox already. His original one was just as tight. This one came from my old red V2. So I don't know why the hell it's still tight, but it still is. And you know, if their bodies don't turn side to side enough when they walk, that is going to affect their walking, because the side to side movement is what allows the robot to actually walk when the legs move. So that plays an important part in the walking. So when I watch my old videos, I notice that it doesn't go to side as much as it should. It kind of looks like it was always kind of stiff. Not this tight to where it is now, but it was still tight to the point where it wasn't loose enough to go as far as it should. So that was an effect. This leg motor was probably stronger than this one since it turned this way, but also I think this leg is also factory messed up because it's pointing down more. Because one of the orders that I had the grips, like one of the solutions, I had some taken out and some in. The way it walked, it looked very strange. I can send you video clips if you want to see the video clips of them. If you want me to send you the link, I can. Just comment and I'll send you the link when I see your comment on if you want to see how this used to walk when I first got it and how I got it to walk differently when I tried experimenting with the grips until I got it to how it is now, to where it walks straight. But the motors actually are going bad in the legs now. Like, they're pretty weak now. In one of them, at least. I don't know which one's more weak. I can't really tell. But it's the same thing. One leg is more... When all four of the grips were on it, this leg was the one that would bend far back when it walks, and then this is the leg that would bend far forward when it walks, which that affects it. It can't be like that. One leg can't be forward and the other can't be back when it's walking. If they don't move all the way, it's gonna walk in complete circles like what it was doing. But now, since I have these grips in the front, this leg is the one that stays back and this is the one that stays forward. But since I have the grips in the front and the ones out, I have the ones removed in the back, it walks straight no matter what. So it's very weird. These RS medias are such a strange thing. There's so many, like I said, every RS media I have walks perfectly as of now. They walk straight. This is the only one that kind of walks in circles now because I've never replaced the motor and I haven't even used it much. But other than that, every other one walks perfectly. I don't know about this one because it's never been tested, but it's never worked for me to test it. Hi, sneaky. But yeah, the one thing that I try to make sure is that they can all walk. That is something that all of them have to be able to do. because that's the main feature that I use on the Rs Media, because that's where I just set the camera down and let them walk around past the camera or wherever they want, because I just find those videos interesting. I'm serious, I can't stop watching those videos. I watch them over and over again. They entertain me for hours, those kind of videos. I think it's the same. I mean, when Chris started watching my videos, Arbiter's Honor, he kind of did the same thing with his robots, but not many people do that. It was mostly just me and him that made videos like that. No one else really made videos like setting the camera down on the floor and just letting the robots walk around. That's just something that's always interested me. It's just, yeah. I almost never ever put them in roaming mode without turning a camera on to record it. So every time I've ever made these roam, it's been filmed. Anyways, I was gonna wrap up this video 20 minutes ago, and now I can't started rambling about something else. So now I'm gonna finally stop before I find something else to talk about. Okay,
Jordan,
so bye.
Jordan, you gotta tell them about the battery issues.
I did. Didn't I tell them about that already? I already told them about that.
No, you didn't. You didn't mention that at all.
What battery? Where they say their batteries need changing? I mentioned that.
Dang, I was trying to make up something so you can just start rambling again.
God damn it, no. Bye, people. Comment if you want to see if there's certain, because like I said, I have videos of every time I've ever used these robots. If you want to see, if you want to see Rs Media #1, how it walked when I first got it versus how it walks now versus how it walked when I changed the grips. If you're really interested enough to see these videos, I will send you the links if you want them. But if you're not, most of you are probably like, I don't really give a fuck. They're all the same damn thing to me. I don't give a fuck. That's probably how most of you guys are, but who cares? This is a if. If you want to see it, let me know in the comments. I want to see #2 roaming. I want to see #3, whatever. I'll send you the link, but
Jordan,
what?
I'm pretty sure some of them are going to be like, cool, or first.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because every time I post an Rs Media video, like the unboxing of my 9th Media, I got fucking 2 dislikes on it. Every time I post a video of an Rs Media, it gets like 2 dislikes. Like really? They're like the best robot ever, besides all these stupid ass, shitty ass problems that they fucking have. Besides that, but they're the most advanced for a toy robot. I mean, with the fucking screen and like bunch of like digital technology that you can use, like, yeah, there's no other robot that can do that shit, especially from 2007.
Yeah.
Because we didn't fucking have touch screens yet in 2007 and all that shit.
Wait, I thought we did. I thought we had the iPod Touch at the time.
It might have been the first one. Okay, it just started. It barely just started. It might have been just being introduced. Because I remember being in 9th grade. That was 2009. No, sorry, 7th grade. That was 2009. My friend Austin had the first iPod. That was the first iPod Touch I ever saw, and I don't recall that one had the camera on it. So it was the first edition. So yeah. And yeah, he showed me the iPod Touch, and I'm like, ooh, it's chrome.
Ooh, it's chrome.
Of course, I automatically thought of Robo Sapien. I'm like, ooh, Robo Sapien's chrome.
Wowwee.
What is this video escalated to? This went from talking about like me being pissed off about Rs Media problems and how to figure them out to talking about fucking iPod Touches now.
Because I'm trying to make this random.
I gotta stop this video. I bet people are gonna be entertained by this, but people are not even gonna watch the whole video. Again, they're just gonna leave like fucking dislikes and be like, yeah, retarded Jordan, being stupid and dumb, like worrying too much about problems that don't fucking matter. Yeah, I know. That's how some of you guys are probably thinking. Don't worry. Hey, I can think what you guys think too. It's not that I don't have these thoughts. I know what you guys are capable of saying. It's not like I don't fucking know.
We've been through this many times throughout the years.
Why the hell am I so like hyper right now? Literally, the past 2 nights I've been up till 5 a.m. in the morning recording sound files for my Ars Medias for when I start making the 20, 30 new personalities that I plan on making for these things. I've got only an hour and a half of sleep each night. I wake up at 8:30 in the morning. I've been trying to go to bed at 5, but I don't fall asleep till close till fucking 6. So, and how the hell am I so hyper? Because normally when I come home from work, I just automatically go to my bedroom. I'm never seen again for the rest of the day. I'm trying to sleep. I don't do anything else. But now all of a sudden, I've been getting like no sleep, and I'm up all fucking day like doing this shit. And yeah. And I'm like, on top of it, it's like I'm almost like high or drunk or something, but yeah, it's weird.
I didn't know you were John. Hey, but let's talk about the thing about the meetup with when John was high on.
No, we talked about that in the live stream. If you want to watch that, watch the last 2 GMA live streams we did. We talked about it in both live streams. I'm ending this video right fucking now before something else happens. Goodbye. Leave comments what you want to see. Bye.